Hi there, and welcome to Apple World. Jay-Z and the manner in which he treats different VIPs, we simply begin to acknowledge the amount of reprobate this man purportedly is. Right now, he's developing into a super antagonist since this man is around here finishing professions since he feels like it now. Sean Paul is spilling some reports about how Jay-Z finished his vocation and destroyed him for life since there were bits of gossip about Sean Paul engaging in extramarital relations with Beyonce. We as a whole realize that Jay-Z is surprisingly envious, and as per Sean Paul, Jay-Z's desire went into overdrive, and he chose to get Sean Paul boycotted over this. You all better get S for this on the grounds that Paul read Jay-Z for Phil. Alright, so assuming there is one thing about Jay-Z that is laid out, it's that he is very envious and can't stand it when Beyonce spends time with different men. As a matter of fact, there have been reports that he once denied her teaming up with male craftsmen, which is the reason we seldom see her perform with male specialists. Sure, they might raise a ruckus around town, but with regards to live exhibitions, we don't necessarily see them together. This lines up impeccably with the story that Sean Paul is telling since he asserted that Jay-Z got so envious of Sean Paul's tune with Beyonce that he precluded Beyonce from playing out the melody with Sean Paul, which prompted some show that ended in Sean Paul getting boycotted for some foundation story. Child Kid was the second single from her solo presentation, Hazardously Enamored. The principal track was Insane in Adoration, on which she highlighted Jay-Z. The two tunes arrived at number 1 on the Hot 100. However, Child Kids invested more energy in it, and number 1 or more at the time, it was a significant breakthrough, and individuals were fixated on the melody. Fans cherished the melody so much that there were reports that Beyonce and Sean Paul were covertly engaged with one another, and they had an unsanctioned romance despite Jay-Z's good faith. Sean Paul has consistently denied this, yet Jay-Z couldn't have cared less about this since he made a special effort to purportedly disrupt Sean Paul prior to totally destroying his vocation. Sean Paul isn't one to allow something like this slide to happen without tending to it. In a new meeting, he recounted how everything went down, and it is more terrible than you suspect, as per him, despite the fact that the melody was really fruitful and a significant hit. Jay-Z just let him perform it with Beyonce multiple times, and 2 of the multiple times Jay-Z supposedly disrupted him as indicated by him when he initially figured out that Beyonce needed to work with him. He was energized in light of the fact that he loved the work that she had finished with. Fate's Kid, he said, she had a couple of hits with Predetermination's Youngster, and they would do the Caribbean, however we didn't actually hang out. I'd constantly respected her music, and she's lovely, so when I heard Beyonce was venturing out on her own and maintained that me should do a solitary, I was like, damnation, effing definitely. I thought being R&B was going in any case. It turned out to be Dan also that made me go off. That was a banging track, man. He then at that point proceeded to discuss how the tune was a hit, yet when it came time to perform it was a letdown for him by and expertly. While Beyonce's exhibitions appear to go flawlessly, there generally appeared to be a few specializing issues on his part. He said it was immense. It was 9 weeks at number 1 all over MTV, and Bet Mag AS wherever I had certain individuals who were working with me for a really long time, and they resembled supervisors like yours. I was like, now, however, we had only 3 exhibitions, and one was at Sunfest. At the time we were both on stage. The McVisit was in 2003. She wasn't on it consistently, but she would come on specific dates and do the tune Insane in Adoration with Jay-Z. One day we left to do the video, and afterward we played some fest. Whenever specific dates and do the tune Insane in Adoration with Jay-Z, one day we left to do the video, and afterward we played some fest. Whenever it was evident that Jay-Z loathed the tune, investigate his face during this applause execution, he guaranteed that when he was finished performing Child Kid with Beyonce, Jay-Z would then come to perform Insanely in Adoration. Things began to get dubious when Sean Paul's exhibition would get wrecked. Yet some way or another, the specialized issues never impacted Beyonce's part, and afterward, they would inexplicably sort out when it was Jay-Z's chance to raise a ruckus around town. Sean Paul said the subsequent time was in LA, and something odd occurred, and I believe that is which begun the bits of hearsay bizarre things began to occur at the exhibitions, which was odd. We went to LA, and I did my show, and afterward she was performing, and they advised me to stay close by in light of the fact that we'll truly do Child Kid. We made it happen, and I run out there and the group goes wild, yet sooner or later, it seems like I lost their energy, and it's unusual on the grounds that I was was going wild out there when the tune completed. I came behind the stage and my own band was totally irritated. Like, man, that is effed up. You heard yourself, we were unable to hear you. In a group, your mic was off. I resembled how the F did that end up placing into point of view exactly how persuasive Jay-Z was. He some way or another figured out how to wreck things for Sean Paul during exhibitions outside the UK, and as per Sean Paul, Jay-Z likewise purportedly wrecked things for him during a presenting Tion in Scotland. He said, "When what occurred in Scotland, that is the point at which we needed to talk on the grounds that the tales got truly insane. I arrived in Scotland, and it was this MTV occasion, and there were paparazzi wherever we wound up doing the practice, and everything was great, and the exhibition was going to be where I come up from under the stage, and afterward we both strolled to a major place thing in the arena, which was encompassing by fire that all occurs, and afterward it comes to my part. You're a top young lady, and the track continues to go, child kid. You stay, child kid. You stay." Simply rehashing, he proceeded with, "I resembled what's happening here. She was pissed and resembled, I want to address you, so we get back and talk, and she resembles what's going on with this multitude of bits of hearsay, and I'm similar to ya. I'm not saying is, and she resembles these reports F with my profession. I simply believe you should realize that I was like, they don't like mine. So listen, I met Jay-Z before you, and we were companions, so me and him ought to talk in the event that he has an away outlook on that. And we ought to talk since it's not coming from me. It's muddled why he didn't come out in that general area, and afterward let her know what her man's doing on the grounds that it didn't seem like Beyonce realized what was happening right now." Sean had come to an obvious conclusion and acknowledged what was occurring. Jay-Z had gotten his bird wounded over the gossipy tidbits about an issue, and he had purportedly designated Sean Paul. This was wild since everybody realizes that Jay-Z has been undermining Beyonce since the very start. So it's misleading that he would get his sentiments injured over certain reports, as indicated by Sean Paul. Jay-Z could have done without it when Sean Paul had that discussion with him, and he totally disallowed Beyonce to perform with Sean Paul, despite the fact that there were at that point designs set up for them to perform at the VMAs that year. He said we were expected to perform at the VMAs, and she shared with me that we will have practices to glance out the day preceding the VMAs occurred. There's this press day where you address each radio broadcast. Furthermore, I'm hearing someone practicing child kid, so I'm similar to what's happening. We went to the name, and they resembled you. They won't do the tune with you, so I'm staying there in a group with my current spouse, and Paris Hilton is sitting before me. Beyonce is descending the steps, sing the tune, and Paris Hilton goes to me and goes, "For what reason aren't you up there?" It was humiliating, also abnormal. He asserted that he was harmed to such an extent that he chose to get her lick back at her. He said so the following day I should act in Washington, D.C., and do the melody with her for her dad. I went there, did my show, and afterwards sat around idly for some time. And I got annoyed. They were like, there are 3,000 powerful individuals sitting tight over here for you to make it happen, and I was, as were there 50 million individuals watching the VMAs. I'm not making it happen, and I left. He asserts that this made Jay-Z angry, and he got Sean Paul boycotted over this. Makes sense of why Jay-Z went after Sean Paul in his tune La La, where he expressed "Run Up On Me at the Light, You Will Lose Your Life," and this was a reference to Sean Paul's hit tune "Give Me the Light," as indicated by Sean Paul. Jay-Z purportedly spread counterfeit bits of hearsay about him in the business and utilized his associations with forceful individuals. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.